Before you make comments like that, you should at least take a few minutes and Google it, figure out what the word cult means. You remember the Jim Jones thing where the term drink the Kool-Aid, where it came from? They drank the Kool-Aid because he told them to. Sound familiar? You took the jab because Biden told you to.
We've come a long way since the first life-saving COVID vaccines were invented, as now we live in a world where they are completely polarized, and taking one, by some individual accounts, means that you are in a cult. President Biden told you to take the jab, this guy says, in response to being told he's in a cult because he's a supporter of Donald Trump. But he seems to miss out on one huge point, which is that Trump himself encouraged people to get the vaccine before and after his re-election campaign failed in 2020. Not only that, but he touted the fact that Operation Warp Speed was initiated during his administration. This whole exchange is just a searing indictment of how our civil discourse has eroded so much just in the past 2 years. People exchanging comments and TikToks with each other, both of which are completely oversimplified, vague, and disrespectful. And the devolution of our discourse is exemplified brilliantly by this guy who says that anyone who took a life-saving vaccine is in a cult because, quote, Biden told you to. So, by that measure, anything any person with authority tells you to do and you do it, you're unequivocally a member of a sinister cult. Eating vegetables, cult. Exercising, cult. Having a job, cult. Saying please and thank you, cult. It does not appear that this dude has done much thinking beyond his own little Trump-obsessed bubble.
You took the jab because Biden told you to. They didn't ask what was in the Kool-Aid. You didn't ask what was in the vaccine, did you? It's exactly the same thing.
Before we move on, I do have to point out just another fatal flaw of his argument, which is that the members of the People's Temple cult, run by Jim Jones, absolutely did know that the Kool-Aid was poisoned. That's like kind of the moral of the whole Jonestown story, that people will do anything, even commit suicide, when they are in the depths of cult devotion. So then we get back to the point that many on the left make, which is that Trump supporters are in a cult of their own, which, of course, they have every right to point out. The undying loyalty, the religious-like devotion, the lack of questioning, the persistence of support despite him not being a current political figure, it can definitely be pretty scary. But let's return to the vaccine conversation. As I said, Trump himself got the vaccine, touted his role in creating it, and encouraged his followers to do so. I remember back in early 2021, this caused a massive rift on the right, with people like Candace Owens calling Trump out pretty viciously for what they saw as capitulating to the cult of the left, which is like at least 65 to 70% of the American population who ended up getting one vaccine. So what do we make of that within the far right? I really wish someone had asked this guy about that, about Operation Warp Speed. I know I bashed how our civil discourse has gotten to be so depraved, but maybe someone can jump into his comments and point out that his leader, in terms of vaccines, very much drank the Kool-Aid. Thanks so much for watching. You can follow me on all platforms at Caro Johnson 917.